Yo, what's up, YouTube? What's up, Steelers Nation? Well, the Kansas City, we're the shitty ones. The Kansas City Chiefs walked into Pittsburgh and beat our ass. I don't think there's really any other way to specify it. I'll probably keep this short because I'm sure that a lot of you guys have heard a lot of this before. I'm just kind of been a couple things get off my chest because for a team that talks about not living in their fears, I feel like we live in our fears a lot, man. We always play the soft coverage. We let linebackers guard receivers. We continuously punt the ball on fourth and short situations when we still have a chance to stay in the game. We constantly play back in the zone defense and just allow people to just kind of tear us apart. We don't blitz. We don't. As soon as we get something going on offense, it's a whole group substitution, a whole package substitution. Not letting Jalen Warren cook more, not letting Russ try and cook more. It's frustrating, and I'm the biggest Mike Tomlin fan, but I get why people say the stuff that they do about him, about the standard being the standard, is just simply having a winning season. But standard is a standard is not making adjustments and being very hard headed, promoting from within, not having competent coordinators, not having competent schemes. Um, Terrell Austin, I don't think he's very good, but the more I listen to him and the more I hear other people, speaking on past defensive coordinators, they just simply don't have a lot of control. It seems to be mainly Tomlin who calls defenses, and they more or less are just kind of there for title. I think this is another one of Mike Tomlin's guys that he knows personally, just like a Matt Canada he knew personally. Um, with as long as Mike Tomlin's been in the league, you would expect him to have more coaches that were up under him that have gone on and been successful elsewhere. And a lot of times, these coordinators are different people that work under Tomlin don't ever see an NFL job again, and there's a big reason for that. I think the only person we had that in a while that's been successful is, well, I don't even know about successful, but have gone on is like old offensive coordinators, Ken Wisenhunt. And there's another person, they both went to Arizona. Todd Haley went to the Browns, and unfortunately that didn't work out too well for him. Dick LeBeau, we showed Dick LeBeau the door for Keith Butler, and granted Dick LeBeau was older, but he's a legend. I think he went and like oversaw a team. He wasn't technically the coordinator, but he oversaw some things. I think he did okay, but it's just really frustrating. You saw Kansas City. Well, first of all, we come out on our first drive, go 3-and-out. Russ does a little spin away, fumbles, and we go 3-and-out. Then Kansas City gets the ball. And I'm pretty sure it was their first drive of the game. They went for it twice on fourth and short. Made sure they got it and put a touchdown on the board, put two touchdowns on the board. And we just went 3-and-out, 3-and-out. I think we had like -3 yards of total offense in the first quarter. It was bad. It was really bad. The Chiefs were, this is what we should have did last week against Baltimore. It's like you just swing for the fences, whether you got people in or not. Kansas City came out, swung for the fences, built up a lead, and just never looked back. That's playing to win. That's not playing not to lose. And the Steelers, less than 2 weeks ago, we were 10-3. Talk about Super Bowls, Russ being the MVP, yada yada. And it's just been a really bad skid. I know that it's 3 games in 11 days is not ideal, but there's a few teams that did it. It was us, Houston, Kansas City, and Baltimore. I think Kansas City and Baltimore are 3-0 in those 11 days, and I think even Houston won one of them. But what we did is we made a Chiefs team that's been struggling. They struggled last week against the Panthers. They struggled against the Raiders. They struggled, I don't want to say struggle, but they didn't have this offensive explosion against teams, bad teams, all year. This was the closest they got to 30 points was against us. Patrick Mahomes had over 300 yards against us, 3 touchdowns. And they just made it look really easy right off the rip. Just wide open in the flats is Xavier Worthy, the fastest man in the draft. And he's wide open if you just can't catch him. Travis Kelsey, one of the biggest personalities in the league, whether that's for Taylor Swift or for his skill, we know who Travis Kelce is, and we know how dangerous he is, even if he's having a down year by his standards, still an up year by most tight end standards, wide open. It's just when you see some of these other coaches come in and they just exploit what we do bad. And we have been making some adjustments. I will admit we have made some adjustments, but it's not enough. A lot of this is, we're going to do what we do, and that's the end of it. It's just really frustrating. You see these teams just eating up our zone. We don't change it. You see these teams shutting us down in the run game. It's just there was a part of it on Hard Knocks where I'm pretty sure it's John Harbaugh was saying with Russ, he's like, it's all layups and threes. There's not a lot of intermediate with this guy, and a lot of the stuff that we're being exploited on from our offensive standpoint is on film. The seam route to Pat Frymuth that got picked off, that's on film. We did that against Cincinnati or something. We did this exact same play. The play to Cordell Patterson, which was still a bad play, you got Najee and you got Jalen Warren. It's 3rd and short, and you give it to Cordell Patterson. That play is on film. We've done that a few times. Once it did work. I can't remember what game it was, but it has had success, but it's on film. A lot of the stuff we do is predictable, and it's just really frustrating. We haven't been getting Darnell Washington involved much lately. We tried to force it to Pat Frymuth a couple times. I know one of Russ's MOs is that, sure, he can't see over the line, so the middle of the field can be a little bit of a tough spot for him. But there's, got to move the pocket. Just got to do different things just to kind of work through these kinks. And I don't know, man. I expected a lot better. The last couple of games against Philly and against Baltimore, we were banged up, but it was a big test to see how we stack up against some of the best teams in the league. Some other, some contenders. I don't want to say other contenders, but some contenders in the league, and we just fell flat. There was a stat. Forgive me if I mispronounce. I heard a couple people talk about us losing 3 games in a row in December, multiple times, and in these last few years. We've had 3-game skids in December, and it's even worse if you count just after Thanksgiving. Us having 3 losses in a row, it stems back like 5 or 6 years. It's bad. It's bad. And we're used to talking about unleashing hell in December, and it just hasn't happened for us. It's just the same shit over and over and over again. And I can see why people are frustrated with Tomlin. I can see why people are calling for him to do something or for somebody to replace him, because a lot of times it does seem like, especially in these last few games, it's like we give up. It'll still be a 1-score game, and we have a chance to try to convert on 4th and short, and we don't go for it. We did it again this game. We had a 4th and 20 we went for, but it was 4th and 2, and we don't go for it. We were down 2 scores. It's time to go, but instead we punt the ball, and for what? Last couple of weeks we were like, are we trying to save ourselves for the next game? We trying to save ourselves for Baltimore to try to win the division. Baltimore smoked us. And I really don't know if there's a way out of this, because we know the play calling is not going to change. We know the defense isn't going to change. We try to get home with 4 people so we can drop more into coverage, but it doesn't matter because people are still running wide open, and there's no pressure on the QB. We had our entire defensive line healthy, somewhat healthy. TJ's banged up. We had no sacks. Kansas City was missing their best defensive lineman in Chris Jones, and they had 5 sacks. If I'm Russ, I'm taking back some of them gifts I got the linemen, because they were just getting their ass whooped. Dan Moore was getting beat really bad. I don't know who was up the middle was getting beat really bad. I don't know if it's Samalu or Frazier. I don't know, but it was very noticeable how under duress Russ was, and then Russ ended up getting happy feet. He's scrolling out of clean pockets, and it's just compounding. It's compounding, and then we're trying to press and make plays, and Russ throwing picks, and he's fumbling, and I see a lot of people calling for Justin Fields. Justin Fields was inactive that game, so there was no way to put him in, even though he was dressed. But I just remember we were 4-2, and Mike Tomlin said, we've been good, but we're not to confuse good with great. And I think we were like 6-1 with Russ. Now we're 6-4. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this is all on Russ, but I definitely do think Russ he's had a slip. He went from being, one of the best QBs we had here in a long time to just being just another QB that, has flashes and sparks, but ultimately, overall, it's just not looking that good. And I get, people wanting to put Justin in because if the line's collapsing, Justin Fields he has a better skill set to avoid pressure and to scramble out and get more yards and make plays. I get all that. I'm not disagreeing. I would at least consider it. It's not usually something you want to do at the end of the season. It's week 17. We're about to go into the last game of the season. You don't really want to be making a QB change at this point. But I get why people are saying it. I definitely get it. It's just at some point something has got to give, because at this rate we're gonna be 10 and we're gonna be 11-6, 10-7, and get bounced in the wild card, and that's really sad to say after the strong start that we had. How great we looked. I felt really good about this team. I felt good about the defense. I felt good about our offense, the special teams. I thought all the units complemented each other really well. But it's just really falling apart, and now we're like scrapping for turnovers just so we can get our offense back on the field and try and score. That's not... Yeah, turnovers are good. Yeah, you want to capitalize off of turnovers. Don't get me wrong. But you don't want to have to rely on that. Like, I feel like we put so much pressure on certain units to make plays outside of themselves that sometimes they overdo it, or sometimes they just mess up, or there's bad communication, and that leads to turnovers from us, and that leads to people on the other side running wide open. It's getting bad. I don't know what we can do to fix this like that, besides just locking back into the shit we were doing to start off the season, man. We got to convert our third downs. We got to convert in the red zone. I don't care what anybody says. Early in the season, they said our red zone conversion percentage wasn't the greatest, but I disagree, because I'm pretty sure Justin Fields was running the ball in a lot when we were in the red zone and getting touchdowns. So call me crazy, but I think that's some bullshit that we weren't that good to begin with, and that's why we're not good now. And I just think we've gotten progressively worse. Jaylen Warren continues to look more like the number one back. He had 11 carries for 71 yards, averaged 6.5 carry. Najee did have 13 carries for 74 yards, got another 1,000-yard season. Shout out Najee. I know this isn't the time for that, but shout out Najee. But these last few games, man, you can definitely see Jaylen Warren's healthy, and he's just got more spark. He's got more pop, and he typically has better games than Najee. And I think what Arthur Smith is trying to do is just play out this year, and I think he wants Justin Fields and Jaylen Warren running some read options next year. But this shit's got to change, man, because we came way too far. We had way too strong of a start to just let the shit slip like that. It's ridiculous. Russ was 23 of 37 for 205 yards and a pick. He got sacked 5 times. Freiermuth had 7 receptions for 60 yards. He also had a fumble. George Pickens had 3 receptions for 50 yards, but 41 of them came on one play, so he had 9 yards on those other 2 receptions. Jaylen Warren had 5 catches for 41 yards. Calvin Austin, 4 catches for 31 yards, including that big play on third down as 3rd and 14, and he got the first down for us. Connor Hayward had a catch for 8 yards. Darnell Washington had a catch for 8 yards. Najee had 2 for 7. Mike Williams and Van Jefferson did not scratch. I think Mike Williams had one where he got his left foot down twice or his right foot down twice. But didn't count. Van Jefferson, some weeks you get a little out of him, some weeks you don't get shit. We all know this now. It's just one of those things where what do you expect? We're limited on the receiving part, and I don't know how many plays Mike Williams got. I don't think it was that many. But then you look over here at the Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, 29 for 38 for 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Andy Reid said this was their most complete game from start to finish. Their most complete game from start to finish, and they played the Panthers last week. Jesus. Kareem Hunt, 9 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 6 carries for 18 yards. So not a lot on the ground, but shit, they ain't need to. Travis Kelce, 8 receptions, 84 yards, a touchdown. Xavier Worthy, 8 catches, 79 yards, a touchdown. Justin Watson burned Dante Jackson on that play, and he got a touchdown. 2 receptions, 60 yards, a long of 49, and a touchdown. Hollywood Brown, 4 receptions for 46 yards. Samaje Perine, 2 for 20. Juju, 2 for 18. Their third leading receiver, Justin Watson, 2 for 60 and a touchdown, had tied for our receiver, Pat Freiermuth, 7 receptions for 60 yards. That's their third receiver. Tied for our first when it comes to yardage. Just bad. It's just really bad. We did force a fumble. I think we forced a couple fumbles, but we didn't recover either one of them. And as far as the defense, Patrick Queen dropped that pick that TJ batted up in the air. Minka had another kind of slow game. Dante Jackson got burned a couple times. We had we had some pressure, but not a lot. No sacks, no picks. The Chiefs just came in and kicked our ass. They outclassed us. They outcoached us. They outschemed us. Their defense was better. Their offense was better. Their special teams was better. They look better than us. They smell better than us. They walk better than us. They talk better than us. Their girl is flyer. Their car is better. Their friends are cooler. The places they go are better. Their food is more tasty. Their weed smokes better. Their drinks are colder and they're more refreshing. It's just we got shit on. It's bad. It's bad because the last couple games you could at least make the excuse that we didn't have our full secondary. We were missing 3 out of 4. Well, today we were only missing 1 out of 4, and we still got our ass whooped. I think we have a lot of talent on defense. We have the highest paid defense. And our defense looked like shit compared to theirs because they just schemed it better. They just knew what we were going to do and shut it down. We had no idea what they were going to do, and they exploited us. So I think I'm going to become a Vikings fan. Skull. Don't tell Mike I said that. But you know me. I'm going to ride with the Steelers. I've seen this script before, and I think that's why everybody's so disappointed because they've seen this script before, especially the most recent one when we started 11-0, had a complete collapse, and then got whooped on by the Browns in the playoffs. There was another stat I just kind of remember off the top of my head, but it was mentioned when I was listening to YouTube videos earlier that like the last 4 or 5 playoff games that we actually made it to, the other team scored like 40 points. Like the Browns scored 40 on us. The Bills scored 31 on us. Like they were basically saying like we fucking suck, and we give up a lot of points when it matters the most. So I don't think it's anything that can't be fixed to where we could go out and still win a playoff game and maybe try to get back on track. It's really a far fall from grace from where we were, talking about Super Bowls and different things, but. This is the bad time. This is a bad time to go cold. This is when you want to get hot and go into the playoffs rolling, especially with us trying to get healthy. TJ Watt came out the last couple of games and played to try to get us in good position. And for what? He got hurt in Philly when we basically gave up. He got hurt during garbage time when we had already given up. And then he played these last 2 games on a bum foot, and we got whooped. So feel for the guy. should have more defensive player of the years than he does. I don't think this year was really his year for defensive player of the year, but I guess nobody else was claiming it, so he was kind of like a default factor type thing. But I don't know if that even stands now with when it getting hurt in this 3-game skid. So last week I kind of came in and smacked the camera, tried to shake us like, come on guys, we still got this. I ain't got that shit today. I'm sorry. I still believe in us. I'm already low on energy. It's already been a long month for me, and just seeing the team get their dicks kicked in 3 weeks in a row, it don't help. It just doesn't help. So we got Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to try to whoop us so they could be eligible for trying to make the playoffs. And this one time where I know we're clinched for the playoffs, but part of me wishes we weren't. Like, I don't think we deserve. I don't want to say we don't deserve to go to the playoffs, but I don't think we deserve to have our feet up like this when we went into this gauntlet. We needed some fire on our back because it just feels like we come out, we're like, all right, this team's better. We try, and then we realize it's not going to work, and then we're like, fuck it. We're not even going to go for it on 4th down. Let's just punt it and have our defense come out again, get exposed again because they've been on the field so much. And then we can yell at the defense and say, you guys fucking suck. You guys let them go 80, 90 yards, which a lot of it is true. That is bad. But like I said, we expect a lot out of certain groups while giving other groups a pass, and I'm tired of it. That's to go for the coaching from Tomlin to Arthur Smith, which I was really liking Arthur Smith, but even I am recognizing some of these play calls are repetitive. And if I can recognize it with my limited football knowledge, I know, people who are paid millions of dollars are recognizing it too. Terrell Austin's really bad, but I mean, if it's Mike Tomlin calling the defense and he's just a puppet, why even have a defense coordinator? Why even allocate that money to him? We have Brian Flores in the building and we let him walk, and he is got the Vikings defense balling with less talent than what we have. It's just a shame, man. And the more I talk about it, the more pissed off I'm getting. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I wanted to keep this short, and it's been over 20 minutes at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm sorry I'm wearing red. I just got off of work, and I just threw on some bum shit because, why the fuck else wouldn't I? I just wanted to be done with work. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Come on, Steelers, man. Let's not give up. I know it's looking bad, and the season may not go the way that we had saw it going just 11 days ago when we were 10-3, but that doesn't mean the season's over. We still got to root for the boys, and we still got to hope for them to come through for us and adjustments to be made. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank you for watching. GG's.